I apologize for making you witness that.
You mean hearing the origins of the Renans?
Indeed. It's shocking to have so many things I thought to be indelible fade away in mere seconds.
Even I'm still not sure everything we've heard here is actually true.
Let's not delude ourselves. If what we've heard is a lie, it's a rather elaborate one. I can only imagine that you must have been constantly feeling like this, ever since your memory returned, Alphen. And you as well, Shionne. About your thorns, and being a maiden.
That's just part of being alive, don't you think?
Well, to say the least. But enough about me. I'm not concerned for myself. What concerns me is all of the other Renans out there.
When you say the other Renans, you mean the ones that are living on Lenegis or Dana, right?
Correct. Even if we stop the Great Spirit from annihilating Dana, our problems will still remain. Putting aside the untold state that Rena may be in, if we do not truly belong there, we will have to think long and hard about where it is that we wish to return to.
So, I guess your only real choices at this point are to either stay on Lenegis or come down to Dana, huh? And right now, Lenegis might not even be a safe option.
And at the same time, Danans are hardly likely to embrace Renans with open arms. If the issue is forced, things could turn dire. There is, after all, 3 centuries worth of hatred to overcome between us. And the victims of our rule have absolutely every right to feel animosity towards us Renans. Our own circumstances as the aggressors are irrelevant.
I didn't expect the former Lord of Menancia to be so down about people reconciling.
Menancia's fate was a stroke of good luck. There had been backlash over how it had been ruled, and I was blessed to have sympathizers among my ranks. Still, even now, there remain ardent dissidents.
But things can still change if you have the right people to help lead the way. Isn't that what you hope to achieve on Lenegis, after this is all over?
Indeed. I have fully accepted the burden of that responsibility. In that regard, I remain determined. On that note, I have something of a favor to ask of you, Alphen.
Oh? What is it?
I wish for you to serve as a mediator so that the Renans can live on Dana peaceably. As the one and only Blazing Sword, I suspect the Danans may listen to what you have to say when problems arise.
And I take it that you'll be the one to represent the Renans?
Yes. I realize that I'm asking quite a lot of you. However, the fact of the matter is that it will take time for Renans to re-enter Danan society without any bloodshed. That is why...
You're the same as ever, Dohalim.
Is it too much?
No, relax. You get so tense and formal when you're asking for a favor. Listen, there's no need for that. We're friends.
You're too kind. I can see you were raised well.
That's some high praise, Alphen.
Then I'll ask once again, this time just as friends. Alphen, will you help me?
You don't even need to ask. Of course I will.
Thank you, my friend.
Well, it sounds like everyone's learning from their past and using it to create a better future for everyone.
What about you, Shionne? How do you feel about the origin of the Renans?
To be honest, I'm not really all that shocked, actually. I mean, I might be a Renan in the literal sense, but I've never really felt like one of them. Right now, it's kind of a mystery.
How do you mean?
Because for a really, really long time, all I ever thought about was how I was going to die. Not if or when, but how. I thought I'd die alone. That fate had me in its steely grip. I would have never imagined that I'd be traveling with someone like you, fighting to save Rena and Dana. I mean, how could I have? It's been going on for 300 years. All this tragedy and destruction. When you consider the Helganquil's part in all this, it's been even longer than that. It was Naori's hope that somehow, someone in the future would be able to stop it before it was too late. How it fell on us, of all people, to heed that call is a mystery.
I don't think Naori was hoping that we would just stop the world from getting destroyed. She considered me, a Dahnan, as a real person. And she very much cherished her own people, too. I don't think she wanted the world to be saved just so they could go back to hurting each other. Oh, maybe this is what she meant.
Huh?
When we were talking to Kisara earlier, about all that stuff like everyone's needing to meet halfway and embrace each other's pain and suffering. She said that the first step down that path was for each of us to put aside our own hatred. That means forgiving other people, even and especially before they forgive you.
Forgiving. So it goes both ways, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I don't just mean forgiving things that happened in the past either. Conflicts will keep happening. If we have any hope of moving on and building a better future, we have to all learn to forgive each other.
You know, you're right. People can hurt one another without even meaning to. I know that better than most, thanks to these thorns.
It's not going to be easy getting past this pain. But if we can do it, I'm sure there'll come a time when we can all truly understand each other. I'm there with you, Shion. I too want to protect the world we live in, and all the people we care about. I think that's the very least I can do to repay Naori for everything that she did.
Yeah. I want a future that she would feel proud to live in, and I'm going to fight for it.
Whoa there, Savior Girl. We're here to save you too, you know.
Yes, I know. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten. I want to live, and that's the honest truth.
Well, is everybody ready to do what needs to be done?
I am. There's a lot to think about. I don't care who we're up against. We'll kick their ass.
What are your thoughts, Alphen? I want to know what's on your mind.
Like Law said, if we have to fight the Great Spirit on Rena, then so be it. It's trying to rob us of our entire world. And it's going to take not just our home, but all of existence along with it. That alone is enough to make it our enemy. But it's not only that. One way or another, I think beating the Great Spirit is going to be tied to us saving Shion.
You're saying there's a chance?
You're referring to the vision of destruction we all saw in Lenegis, I take it?
Yeah. 3 centuries to hear Shion tell it? It's the same one that she sees from her own thorns as well.
Indeed. And if Rena's great spirit is what's behind Dana's pending destruction, then...
Shion's thorns are the Great Spirit? It's not actually on Rena like we thought?
We don't know anything for certain. At the very least, though, I think it's possible her thorns are a part of the Great Spirit.
While the main body resides in Rena.
Shion.
If these thorns really are a part of Rena's great spirit, I'm going to go over there and give it a piece of my mind and then some.
The question is, how do we confront it? Suffice it to say, that flower growing out of Rena is enormous. Large enough to... The Wedge and Lenegis were both hard enough for us to overcome.
And we only know about the thorns connection thanks to Naori.
Hevric 35 has been observing the Great Astral Spirit this whole time. It wouldn't ask us to fight it unless it has a plan of some sort. Let's go see what that is. Our minds are made up. Let's go give Hevric 35 our...
Do you have your answer for me?
We want to ask something first. You're asking us to fight an entire planet. How exactly do you expect us to do that? You must have something up your sleeve, or else you wouldn't put us up to it.
The great astral spirit is an immense being, but its actual will does not run throughout its entire body. Rather, its will is derived from the core, which supports the rest of the body, and is where its strength is most densely concentrated. Therefore, if you destroy the core, the Great Spirit shall become unable to maintain sentience, and return to being ordinary astral energy.
And how are we supposed to destroy that core?
By using the Renus Alma. You will also need the assistance of both the Sovereign and the Maiden. They are our best tools for suppressing and controlling astral energy. Using their powers, the Maiden shall seal the great astral spirit within her body, and the Sovereign shall wield the power of the Renus Alma to destroy it.
Hold on. That sounds a lot like what Shion described before.
Yeah, killing herself to take out the thorns with her.
She was actually right all along.
By my calculations, your powers combined should be sufficient to destroy the great astral spirit, and disperse its energy widely enough to make it difficult to reform.
What will happen to the Maiden once we manage to beat the great astral spirit?
Any matter contained within the field of destruction shall be erased.
So it really will kill me.
This method is the most simple one available to destroy the Great Spirit, and is therefore our most reliable option.
What are our other options?
There is little reason to consider alternative courses of action when the most optimal among them is so clear.
You don't get it. I promised Shion that she wouldn't die, that we'd save the world without needing to sacrifice her. We didn't fight this whole time just to give up on her at the very end. If there's any other way to take out the Great Spirit, I want to hear it.
This plan shall lead to the fewest losses in preserving your world. Abandoning it is irrational.
That's...
It is vital that you proceed with this plan. A part of Rena's great astral spirit already resides within her. 300 years ago, the Great Spirit descended upon Lenegis in an attempt to assume direct control of the spirit channeling ceremony. We have reason to believe the Great Spirit left part of itself behind, and that it now resides in the Maiden.
Which would make Alphen's earlier hypothesis correct.
That part inside the Maiden belongs to the core, and can be used by the great astral spirit to revive itself. So long as it remains, it will be all but impossible to fully eradicate the Great Spirit. That is why it is necessary for it to be vanquished only once it is whole. Without the Maiden's direct control over the Great Spirit, attacking it is futile, and will only serve to strengthen it.
No.
Wait. Naori said that the Renus Alma can suppress the self-realization of astral energy, and that the thorns can be neutralized by placing them in it. If so, can't the same also be done to the Great Spirit, seeing as the thorns are simply part of it?
Well, can it?
It is true that the Renus Alma is capable of what you suggest, and could contain the great astral spirit.
Yes!
However, doing so requires fine control on the level of the spirit channeling ceremony, considering that the Renus Alma was previously lost when that ceremony failed. I cannot allow it. Its uncertainty is simply too great.
What does that mean for us if you won't allow it?
Your starship will not be restored, and you will all be unable to leave here.
Why you?
Fine then. I'd rather stay here and rot than do it your way.
Alphen?
Whatever we do, if we mess up, Dana's screwed. The Great Spirit will destroy it. If you're fine letting that happen, and we have nothing to gain either way, then I'd rather do nothing. We want to stop Dana from getting destroyed. We want to save it. But not if it means having to sacrifice one of us in the process. If all you're gonna do is sit back and watch us where it's safe, then quit ordering us around and shut up!
Alphen.
What you say is irrational. Be that as it may, I shall accede to your demand.
You'll agree?
I am an observer. The Sovereign, Maiden, and Renis Alma are my species' greatest achievement. I wish to see how well they work against the Great Spirit in light of our demise by its hands.
But what are we supposed to do about the Renis Alma? One of your buddies ran off with it back on Lenegis.
It is likely that the Renis Alma is with the Great Spirit, functioning as a catalyst for it to receive Dana's astral energy.
So our only option to retrieve it is to head straight for the Great Spirit and take it back?
According to my observations, the astral energy is most densely concentrated in the center of Rena, where the Great Spirit's core is located.
So right in the middle of that giant flower, then.
I have one more question. You've said that Rena's great astral spirit is already integrated with the planet. What will happen to Rena once it vanishes?
Without the will of the Great Spirit, Rena is predicted to collapse. Even in such a scenario, the energy will disperse, and the Great Spirit will likely not reform.
So you're saying that even if we manage to beat the Great Spirit without destroying it, we'll still be in danger?
Likely, the collapse will occur in stages. It is recommended that you all escape before the final stage.
Man, I wish that thing would tell it to us straight for once.
Hevrek 35 and the others have gotten used to hypothesizing from afar is all. Fix our starship. We're going to Rena.
Excellent.
But I want to make one thing clear. We're doing this for ourselves, to protect what matters to us. We're not doing it for your sake, or because you told us to. Remember that.
It matters little to me. The end result shall be the same. Repair work on your starship has commenced. You'll have to wait until it's finished.
Man, is it too much to ask for Hevrek 35 to talk like a normal person? I swear I can feel my brain starting to fry after listening to all that complicated stuff.
Don't worry.
You still thinking about what the scientists told us? About where Renans really come from?
I am, but not for myself.
You're worried about the future of the Renan people.
The fact that our people have been the same this whole time will only give the Danans further reason to resent us.
But you still intend to confront this truth head-on, don't you?
Well, I did declare that I would live my life for the living, and not the dead. Even as I dream of retirement, I shall remain dedicated to the cause.
I'm sure you'll do great.
Now that I think about it, I don't believe I've ever heard you criticize or reproach us Renans even once.
I'm no saint. I have skeletons in my closet too. There was definitely a time when I hated Renans for who they were. I hated them just for being Renan. But you changed that, Dohalim. You gave me an opportunity to see them in a different light. Thanks to your reforms, we were able to stand next to Renans not as slaves, but as equals for the first time in our lives. Of course, I'm sure there were some Renans who still hated us on the inside. But we knew that not all of you were like that. There were those of you who were good, and that was a start. When it comes down to it, Renans are just people. They can be good or bad, just like Dahnans.
That is, in essence, the heart of your approach, isn't it? That we're all people.
Yeah, it is. When you can pull someone aside and talk to them one-on-one, then you have the chance to come to an understanding. But as soon as you stereotype, that chance goes away, and you stop thinking of them as people that you can relate to.
I understand what you're saying, but we're talking about massive numbers of Renans and Dahnans alike. Realistically speaking, surely they won't all be able to get along.
Even if we end up butting heads with one person, maybe we'll find better luck among their friends. If we can build a society that works like that, that'll be something worth nurturing and protecting.
So you wish for people to form real bonds and do away with the hierarchy outright? To deal with one another as humans, and nothing more? That's the ideal future you hope to see when this is all over?
Yes, I do. I think it would make for a fine tribute to my brother's legacy. Though, that said, I would be doing it for the people of the future first and foremost. Do you still plan to return to Lenegis when this is over?
Indeed I do. I don't know whether I'll be able to reside in Lenegis proper, however. My first order of business may be to find somewhere to live.
You'll always have a home in Menancia, you know.
As I shall ever keep in mind.
Well, if you ever need a helping hand, don't hesitate to come get me. I'll always be there for you, Doe.
Did you just... Never mind. Thank you, Kisara. I appreciate your patience as I work all this out.
Don't even mention it. And really, when you think about it, now that we know the two of us aren't so different after all, don't you think that brings down a barrier that used to be between us?
You know, I hadn't actually thought of it that way before. But I do like the sound of it.
Yeah, I think I do too.
Hey, why'd you call me here? Was there something you wanted to talk about?
Well, if everything we've heard about the Great Spirit is true, then we're getting close to our final battle. So I wanted to apologize while I can.
Apologize? For what?
I was being real stupid before, about whether Dana's will had been controlling us and all that. I get why you're angry now. Anybody would be if something they trusted was being questioned. So, I'm sorry, Rinwell. Really. I should have kept my mouth shut.
No, Law. Honestly, I think you might have been onto something. Of course you were worried. Who wouldn't be if they found out there might be some invisible force pulling our strings this whole time?
But you really trust Dana's will, don't you? Is it because you can sense it a lot more than the rest of us? Because you can understand it?
Yeah, I think that might be part of it. But I think I also want to believe it's good.
Believe?
Remember how I used to really resent coming from a family of mages?
Yeah, of course. Because you were always on the run and had to live in hiding.
When we rescued Zephyr and I finally decided to come along with you all, something changed inside me. It was the first time I felt like my powers had any meaning, even if that meaning was only helping you guys fight. Then, when I felt Dana's will, I was overwhelmed by how vast and warm it was. It made me want to believe my powers were made to connect with it. It made me believe I had a bigger purpose.
So that's why you hope it doesn't turn out to be bad. You almost need it to be kind.
Yeah.
Well, alright. Then I promise I'll lay off bad-mouthing it.
You will?
there's no way for me to know for sure one way or the other, right? But you trust it, Rinwell, and that's enough for me. So I'll trust it because you do.
Remember what I said about neither planet's great spirit reaching us here?
Yeah?
That's not quite true. I can feel just a little bit of Rena's inside you and everyone else.
You... what?
I sensed it when we first got here. It's a really small amount, so it doesn't feel like it has a will of its own. But I think that's how Dana's energy probably is too.
So you're saying there's a little bit of Dana's will inside each of us? In a way, doesn't that mean we're all Dana's will?
What?
Well, like you said, unless Dana's energy comes together, it has no will. So if we all have a little bit of Dana's astral energy inside us...
Yeah, maybe...
Heverick 35 might know the answer. But, you know what? I don't need to ask it. My will is my own. I fight for who I want to fight for. That's who I am now. Who I've become. So thanks, Rinwell, for sharing that with me.
Ah.
To be honest, the only reason I was suspicious of Dana's will... well, I mean, it mostly was... I feel like you and I had grown apart lately, and I was worried it was because...
Huh?
Never mind. Nothing. Just forget about it.
Huh? No, what were you saying?
Saying? I don't remember
Come
saying
on.
anything.
Now you won't tell me what you were
No,
thinking?
that's not what I'm saying.
Then spit it out already.
You sure you don't want to get some rest?
I can't. I've got too much on my mind. Especially knowing how close our last battle is. How are you doing, Xion?
Same as you, still trying to absorb everything.
Remember when it was so simple? We were only fighting all the lords on Dana? All of that feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
Ages and ages ago. Everything that's happened since we first met. So many fights, so much chaos, so many wonderful people.
If I hadn't run into you that day, well, I wouldn't have met all of you. I never would have held the blazing sword or looked for something more. I wouldn't have my memories back. I'd still be a faceless slave, like as not long dead.
Hey, Alphen. I want you to promise me something.
Yeah?
If we can't find the Renis Alma, there's something I want you to do. Like Heverick 35 said, the only way we can end the Great Spirit for good is to go after both the main body in Rena and the thorns in me. I need you to promise me, Alphen, that if for some reason we can't get the Renis Alma back, you'll use the Blazing Sword to destroy the Great Spirit, and me along with it.
Huh?
It's true the Blazing Sword may not have the strength of the Renis Alma. But it's taken us this far. It's slain lords and beasts. At the very least, it has to be worth a try.
You can't be serious. Have you forgotten everything that
Listen,
we've...
the Great Spirit isn't just our problem. It's a threat to our entire world. Renans and Danans alike. We don't know what's going to happen when we face it. But we need to be prepared for anything. We can't second-guess ourselves when the time comes. I promise you, I'm not planning on going anywhere. I'm prepared to fight with absolutely everything I've got. But if it comes down to it, I need you to be prepared too.
Okay. But you should know that I'm not going to give up on you, Shion. I'm going to fight this until the very end. I hope you can forgive me for that.
Alphen. Okay, I understand. And I'll forgive you.
Thank you, Shion.
So it's a promise then?
Yeah, it's a promise.
I remember how I felt the first time you touched me. My thorns made any contact a mistake no one would ever make twice. After they'd seen what could happen, fear would always linger behind their eyes. In my entire life, I never had someone willingly reach out to me. But when you reached out to me and gently took my hand, you didn't react at all. It was so easy for you. I don't have words for the shock I felt in that moment.
That's because I couldn't feel pain back then.
Even once you could, though, you still chose to keep reaching out to me. And when you did, I felt this warmth that I had never known before. But still, I hate having to see you suffer through it every time you do.
You won't have to worry about that for much longer.
You think so?
I do, because Shion,
No. You can tell me once my thorns are gone. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. Everybody get enough rest? We ready for this?
Yeah, we should probably get moving.
Agreed. Can't stand around waiting all day.
Our task is relatively straightforward. We need only descend down to Rena, defeat the Great Spirit, and restore stability to both worlds.
We're fighting for a new future for both Dana and Rena.
Right. We've come this far. We will save our worlds. That's a promise.
Then let's go, everybody. We've got one last wall to tear down.
Repairs on your starship are complete. Everything is in working order.
Is that you, Hevrek 35? You can see us from where you are?
I can. I can see anywhere within the bounds of Dake Faisal.
Sounds like someone's a peeping Tom.
Maybe we should give Hevrek 35 a break. It has been stuck in this tiny facility for a very, very long time.
I have unlocked all functions on your starship. You can now make use of its warp drive.
Warp drive? Wait, you mean like what the Red Women used on us? What brought us here?
It's possible that the Red Women may have found a way to activate it on the starship. They are Helganquil, after all.
Using the warp drive, you should be able to breach Rena's atmosphere without being detected.
Wait, should?
You'll need to be careful. Due to the force field surrounding Rena, the ship will be unable to go any further than the surface of the planet.
So, once we reach the shell, it appears we'll have to infiltrate the core by foot. Understood.
We gotta go all the way down just walking?
Will all the Helganquil go back to normal once we defeat the Great Spirit? I have a strange feeling we're going to have to fight them before this is all over.
The extinction of my people is inevitable at this stage. As such, it would be illogical to risk the success of the mission in a vain attempt to save my kind.
We understand.
Can't that thing lighten up a bit? Everything it says seems to be about what's illogical.
Well, come on, Doe.
Hold up, did you just...
You heard the lady. Get going.
I have one last question.
What?
As Sovereign, your identification number indicates that you are well past your predicted life expectancy. Similarly, the Maiden lacks any identification number, as her function should have been. Despite this, the two of you continue to exist. Why?
We exist because others have entrusted this to us. Over the years, many people have come...
You mean it is because of multiple chance interactions? Why have you two continued to persist?
It's hard to explain. To be honest, I don't... All right, time to get back on the phone.
It would appear that our Helganquil host really has fulfilled its end of the bargain.
You know what that means. Time to go to Rena.
I guess this means we should give that warp drive a spin.
There's nothing here. This weird ocean we're surrounded by just stretches out everywhere. Is this really where the Helganquil come from?
I don't sense even a trace of astral energy. This world is dead.
Then this must be the Hollowing.
You mean to tell me this whole world, the entire ocean is... that stuff?
And it's covering everything. The entire planet.
This is what the Great Spirit does. After it depleted this planet of every last speck of astral energy, it went after Dana.
So arresting. This world of doom.
Back in its day, Rena was probably just as vibrant as Dana is. But after being robbed of its astral energy for so long, those days are gone and past. This is all that will remain.
So the Great Spirit took everything. It stole energy not just from living beings, but the land, the sea, everything.
And it bound the Helganquil in servitude, until their whole world was nothing but this. And by the looks of it, that's how it remains to this day. A world of death and emptiness.
With nothing left here to consume, the Great Spirit turned its sights on Dana, looking for another host.
You're saying if we don't stop it, this is what Dana's going to look like?
We can be sure that even these few remaining remnants of Renan life will not be spared in the end.
If the oblivion and darkness both Shion and Naori saw comes to pass, nothing will survive. It looks like we can climb down from there. Let's take a look.
So this is Rena. This is where everything began. Yet it's a dead world?
I won't let Dana suffer the same fate. Ever. Looks like we've warped into that pit of astral energy.
Helganquil!
Guess they don't need their Red Woman disguises anymore.
Wait, can you understand us?
It's no use. We're not going to get through to them.
So they really are being controlled.
I knew there was something off here!
They're not pulling punches. We have no choice but to beat them at their own game. My reach is even wider. Explosive ring!
Denied!
They smite with blackened blade.
Leave the enemy's arcs to me!
Can't get out of this. Place here. Light burst forth.
Radiant Genesis! You don't mess around!
Certainly not.
Eat dirt!
Confiscated! Into the stone! Dance now!
Rinwell! Light burst forth.
Radiant Genesis! There!
You're finished!
Elusive deity. Rotating pile driver.
Take this!
Now!
It's off!
Look sharp. Lightning tiger blade. On your knees.
You're mine!
Raging
You're
Storm!
mine! Demon Pact!
Where are you going?
Lightning Wyvern!
Rinwell. Light burst forth.
Radiant Genesis! Will this
My
help?
turn.
It's over!
Seismic
Mirage!
Healing now!
Totally! In an instant! Impact block!
Alphen.
I can't forgive them for what they've done, but I hate killing them. They don't even know why they're fighting.
Perhaps. However, if we don't make a choice, the guilt of not doing anything will be that much worse.
Yeah, I know. I hate for it to be like this. But if it happens again...
I wonder if we're going to get attacked again.
If we lose heart now, this whole mission is over. We have to stay the course.
Is this a dead end?
It appears this whole room functions as an elevator. That apparatus there is likely...
What the? Where did they come from?
Less worry, more action. Concentrate.
Demon Pact!
I shall ensure you survive this.
That statue wielding art? Now it's seen everything.
I'll smash you!
Pesky airborne scoundrels.
Sounds like a job for yours truly. Art expert coming through.
Take this!
More Sukals?
Keep calm and take them down. Do it.
Whoa! Blow them away!
Not a chance!
More of them?
Leave astral energy lightning attack.
I'm ready! Totally! In an instant! Impact block!
We work well together. Like a finely timed waltz.
It's over!
Take
Inside me, yours to be let free! It's over! Mirage!
Resonate with the earth.
You're finished!
On your
Mirage! Eat dirt! Take this!
My turn.
You're mine! Mirage!
Resonate with the earth.
Wyvern!
I never miss. Calm down.
Sorry to trouble.
Now, Lost, get toasty.
Bird strike!
More?
Not a chance!
Rain down.
Rising Wyvern!
Eagle Ray! Anything in armor is all mine! Here I come! Mirage!
This one's mine!
I can carve through armor!
Glacial
Here I
Spear!
come!
Here's evil!
Rising Wyvern!
Rending you
It's
apart!
time! It's over!
Resonate with
Rising Wyvern!
Illuminate
Not
the
chance!
Roaring Fire!
Mirage!
I'm out of ammo!
Thrust!
Arch Steel!
Rising Wyvern!
We've turned the tables
Do
on.
it! There's no more left!
In an instant! Impact Block! More?
Everlasting darkness!
Mirage! You're mine! It's over! Mirage! No escape! Eat dirt! No further! Take this!
Not on my watch! Do it!
You're finished! Gion!
Get toasty!
Burn strike! Not more!
Bathed in
Mirage! Here I come!
Bloody
You're finished! Mirage!
Here!
Take this!
Far enough!
Demon Fang!
Now!
Reload!
Astral energy!
Say no more! Got it!
Well done! There! And again!
Is this it?
I couldn't make it in time.
Take that! Down and purify all!
everlasting
Let the marksman handle this!
I'll face it.
That'll bring you down!
You're mine! Heal! Now I can let loose!
I can carve through armor!
Searing
You're
flame!
mine!
Illuminate
Take
the
it!
dark! Come
It's
forth,
over!
holy glimmer!
I'm ready!
Your blade
Not
moves
again,
like
more?
silk. I just let my instincts take over.
How fascinating.
As impressive as always.
Here I hope that wasn't true.
Illuminate the dark!
Mirage!
Come forth, holy glimmer!
Take
Holy
this!
land!
Rising Wyvern! Mirage! Take this!
Do it!
More?
Hold on to your armor!
Rising Wyvern!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
There you go, Elfin!
It's time to end this battle!
I'm right beside
I'm ready!
you! Dance in the wind!
Mirage! Rising Wyvern! Mirage!
Confiscated!
Hear the
Where
flame
are you
inside me!
going?
I'm ready to be let free!
Tempest Whirl!
Lady Fortune must truly be watching over me. Even in such a harsh environment as this, there are still creatures here?
You think they're native to Ren? No? Or could they be Zoogle somehow?
Whatever they are, they're dangerous. Watch yourselves around them. You think that pit stretches all the way to Rena's core?
That's true. And if we go down, we should find the Great Spirit at the bottom.
We could get there even faster if we simply jump down instead.
You sound alarmingly serious when you say that.
These structures don't look like anything built by the Renans, or even what we saw in the Forbidden Zone.
Perhaps this is the true architectural style of the Helgate. Anquil. Or perhaps the opposite, given their situation.
You mean like how some places favor...
Retreat if you know what's good for you.
Shining Supernova! Let's cut our losses! This will be a delicious piece of cake! Annihilate! Thunderblade!
Sometimes a retreat is the best strategy.
Careful!
Coming
Heal you all!
Here I come!
Raging Cat, you got
Demon!
it!
Fang! Captivity!
Healing Circle!
Hollow Blade! Demon Fang!
Thanks, Shion.
Be careful not to overdo it.
I'm sorry. I'm going to do better.
You're mine! Not so fast! I'm ready! Rising Wyvern! Okay, here I go! Rising Wyvern!
Illuminate the dark!
Here I come!
Holy Trigger!
Mirage!
Annihilation!
It's over!
Flame of Fury! This one's mine!
Mirage! Rising Wyvern! Mirage! Take this!
Light Glacial Spear!
Mirage! No further!
In
You're
here!
finished!
Freeze Lady!
I'm not done!
I'm ready! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
There you go, Elton!
It's time to end this battle!
I'm right beside you! Don't mind if I do! Freeze Laser!
It's over!
Do it!
Here I
Thunder
come!
Field!
This should come in handy when crafting weapons.
Retreat if you know what's good for you.
Illuminate the dark!
Sometimes a retreat is the best strategy.
As if the North...
Courteous, aren't you?
Take this! Lunar Corruption! Lightning Orb! By the power of let's cut our losses! 2 heads?
Right! Here goes!
This one's mine!
Take this! Rising Wyvern! I'm not done! It can hide itself? Amazing! Rising Wyvern!
In here!
Mirage! Eat this! Totally! In an instant! Impact Claw! We work well together.
Like a finely timed wall.
Be careful not to overdo it.
Incantation ruin.
Try this!
Here's a healing arm!
Inferno Turret!
First aid!
No escape! Rising Wyvern!
Hold on to your
Mirage!
arms! Here I come!
Beckons into everlasting
Freeze
dark.
Laser!
Negative gate.
Take this! It's over!
Air's confiscated!
You're my Demon Blade!
Negative gate.
Light astral energy! Illuminate the top
Demon Blade!
Bloody hollow.
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno! Strike! The flame inside me yearns to be let free!
Here I go! I can handle it!
Eat
Charge
this!
like that could easily be fatal.
Just as well, I'm here to stop.
Elusive deity.
Eat
Soaring blast!
Where are you going?
Demon Fang! Here I come!
I think I'm coming down with something grave.
A chronic inability to read the room?
A malady your art cannot fix.
Do it!
Chill!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished! With your flames and my technique,
We're stronger together than we are apart.
I think Kuro's hungry.
Funny. I could have sworn that was your stomach making all the racket.
What do you think this place was for? Ah!
What the hell? Are they asleep?
No. They appear to be well preserved. However, they are all dead.
Dead? So this is a mass grave?
Looks that way. However, none of them appear to be Helganquil.
Bear in mind that Renans were originally Danans, who were remade and sent to live on Lenegis. Knowing that, they would have needed a place to perform the procedure somewhere.
And that place is here, I assume.
So what you're saying is that all of these are Danan, or rather, Renan bodies?
Most likely, yes. It must have been abandoned for one reason or another.
There are so many of them. They were all taken away, but never given the chance to wake.
What is that thing?
Something we have to fight if we want to get across, it seems.
Be careful! It's huge!
What?
Is with all the huge lumbering beasts lately.
It's no ordinary zoo. That much is damn sure.
Watch yourself. All bets are off when it comes to this thing. Rising Wyvern! Now we're not... Infinity! I've been hit with something.
So even a masochist has his
Rising
limits.
Wyvern! Not feeling so great. Rising Wyvern! This was all mine.
His head is the choke point. You'll need to bring it down somehow to hit it.
In that case, let's start with the one in the middle.
Burn!
In a bind?
You're mine!
Not on my watch.
Now you see what I can do.
Deny!
Illuminate the top.
Rising Wyvern!
Holy Quiver! Holy
escape!
Lens! Eat stir!
Here I come!
There you go!
Rising Wyvern!
That'll bring you down.
Sleep now. Get on it! Eruption!
It's on!
More with
Mirage! Try this! Infernal Torrent!
Astral energy!
Here I come! Ignite!
I'll heal you all!
Take this!
Lightning and dash shadow!
Now I can let loose! It's over! Rising Wyvern! Take this! Rising Wyvern! Mirage! Rising Wyvern! Mirage!
Why'd you heal me?
To stop you dying?
Explosive ring!
I can carve through armor. Far enough.
A thrilling performance.
Wind astral energy!
Resonate with the earth. Stalagmite.
That'll bring you down.
Demon Fang! Swallow Blade! It's over! Here I come! Demon Fang!
Fury! Burning strike! Glacial spear!
Rising Wyvern!
I'm ready. Kisara. All yours, Kisara.
Rising Wyvern! It's over!
In a bind?
Demon Fang!
Don't mind if I do! Back into the fray!
Explosive ring!
Air thrust!
You picked the wrong fight! Here I go! Rising Wyvern! Mirage!
Rising armor won't save you.
All disasters made one!
It's over!
Purity!
Try this! Infernal Turret!
Maelstrom!
You're mine! Rending you up! It's
Here's the
over!
healing arm.
Bloody hell! Rising weapon!
Oh, violet darting wind!
Here I come! It's over!
If it's in the sky, it's mine! Air thrust!
Benediction light.
Ignite!
I'm almost impressed.
High praise coming from you.
I said almost. Don't get carried away. Energy, dance in the wind!
You're on!
Feel and again!
Try this! Explosive ring!
Reload!
Demon Crash! Try this!
Up and in, looks like you got this one covered.
Here I go!
I owe you, Dion. Healing is what my art do best. All mine can do is cause havoc and destruction.
Take this! You're finished!
Light astral blazing
Anything in
cascade!
armor is all mine!
Here!
Denied!
I'm all sucked up! Lightning condensed!
The flame inside me!
All yours, Kisara.
The hell was that thing?
Probably something that was made here and somehow managed to survive, even after all this time. Not that there's any way of knowing now.
What's wrong?
Oh, I just suddenly found myself contemplating what might have happened to the sovereigns that were meant to emerge from the crowned contests.
What do you mean?
You see, the winners of the past crown contests were all strong astral arts practitioners. Furthermore, that enemy we just fought appeared to be composed of several human bodies. It was certainly nothing one would find in nature.
You're saying those were the remains of the winners? That they forgot who they once were?
I'm merely saying it's a possibility.
That's absolutely gruesome. How long had the Helganquil been at this?
It was Rena's great spirit that made them do all of this. Anything to get its astral energy.
We're not gonna jump down, right?
I certainly hope not.
After hearing Donlim's suggestion, I'm honestly not sure what to say.
I assure you all, I was merely stating the possibility.
We're back in that other room? Did the teleporter fail or something?
Something feels off about it.
Look! Everything's upside down!
The furnishings are at least. No, you're right. The whole room's flipped on its head.
So what was once down is now up, and vice versa. I suppose the teleporter reversed our orientation then.
I guess this is the flip side of that pathway we were walking on just a little while ago.
This is crazy. Who knew such amazing technology existed?
Everything's topsy-turvy and that's all you can think about?
Bear in mind, the core of Rena now sits above us. I pray that we won't encounter many stairs along the way.
opponent like this should be easy. Resonate with the
Let's cut our losses. This is gonna need all of us together.
What are those? They look like Shion's thorns, and with flowers too.
Not real ones, though. They're just like that flower growing out of Rena.
We must be getting close to the Great Spirit now.
Hey, Rinwell, what was that thing you said about how a little bit of Dana's Great Spirit is inside all of us?
Right. That's why Dana's Great Spirit is so much more diluted. Weak, even. Whether it was a choice so it didn't overpower others, or just the way it is anyone's guess.
If that's true, then wouldn't it mean Dana's will could never form under natural conditions?
Yeah, sounds like that's probably the case.
So if Dana exists within all of us, then what if something occurred that brought everyone's hearts and minds together as one? That unity could potentially act as Dana's will.
You mean if everybody was, like, thinking the exact same thing at the exact same time? Come on, there's no way we could pull that off.
I know it's a long shot, but it might work.
Let's assume that's even possible for a second. Would it even be enough to fight back against Rena's Great Spirit?
If nothing else, it might be an option if we can't use the Renasolma.
Things are different here than on the surface.
That shows how deeply we've ventured into Rena.
And how close we've come to the real enemy.
What's with that shining foe over there?
Gotta break through! You're mine! Rising Wyvern! Elusive deity! You're finished! This is bad, right?
Yes, Alvin. Very bad.
I don't see it. More Suko?
Keep calm and take them down.
We got flyers!
I'm got it. Let a marksman handle it.
All yours! It's over! Take this! It's over!
The enemy wields arms.
Not today!
You'll soon see about that.
You're mine! Rising Wyvern!
Now!
It's a kill!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
There you go, Alvin.
It's time to end this battle!
I'm right beside you.
Rising Wyvern!
Do it!
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
Reinforcements? Crossblade!
You're mine! Demon Fang!
Not much longer to go.
Come on, one final push!
Let's do this together, Alvin.
You're on! Take this! More? It's over! You're on! Demon Fang!
Glacial Spear. Here's the evil.
Here I come! You're on!
Magna Ray.
Tornado Drive! Rising Wyvern! You're on! More? It's over!
Here's the evil.
Okay, here I go! The flame inside is yours to be let free! You're on! Demon Fang!
Do it.
It's over! Demon Fang!
Light burst forth!
Radiant Genesis. You don't mess around.
You're mine!
Certainly
You're
not.
on! You're mine! Burn in hell!
I never miss.
Take this!
Confiscated.
Demon Fang!
Here's a healing art. Now. First aid. This ends now.
Consider yourself finished! More? Rising Wyvern!
Rending you apart!
Magna Ray. Ray Annihilation. Magna Ray.
Can't get out of this!
You're on!
Glacial Spear. Here's the
Demon
evil.
Fang!
It's just armor won't
Save you!
Now.
More?
Kisara! Frozen!
Hammer!
This one's all mine! Here I come! It's over! Demon Fang! Here I come! Ignite! Take this! Mirage! You're mine!
Mine!
You're finished!
Do it!
Demon Fang! Chill!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished! More?
Annihilation!
You're mine!
I'm all stuck
Mirage! Chill!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Illuminate the dark!
Mirage! Take this! Demon Fang!
Do it!
Here I come! Rising Wyvern! Mirage!
Primed and ready!
Demon Fang! My turn!
Mirage!
Rising Wyvern!
Begin!
Throw it again!
Now!
Chill!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
So I still had room to grow.
The Zoogles here are putting up a real fight.
That just goes to show how important this place is.
Or perhaps they simply thrived freely here under such harsh conditions.
I don't give a damn why they're here. We'll burn it all to the ground.